Hello ladies and gentlemen, I'm Sai and I welcome you to this video. For the last several months I have been trying to work on a poultry farming game inspired by Resident Evil 4. So here's where I've reached by now. About less than a year ago, I first thought of making a survival horror game about chickens. Even the last video on this channel is about that, and that is 10 months old. And I've still been working on this game. So, you might think I must have made great progress, huh? No, because all this time in between was filled with me getting stuck on something, then leaving that project, then starting over, and repeating this cycle. But the voices in my head just won't let me forget about this game. So, around 2 weeks ago, I randomly tried to 3D model the main character. I'm not particularly good at it, but it kinda came out good. So I put her in Unity and got her running with some make some more animations. I don't really like them as much, so I might make my own animations later. But it was a good start. In all my previous attempts at making this game, I never started with the focus on player. So yeah. Now, an inventory system might not be the first thing you try to make for a game. Plus, I was thinking of making one similar to RE4's inventory system, so I had to make one on my own. But I have limited skills of programming, so I could not really make one in the most efficient or optimized way. Instead, I made a very physics-based real inventory system, if you can call that, where you can first of all pick up objects, then open this container sort of thing to then drop that object into it, and until you get it out, it will stay with you. I honestly found it pretty cool after making it. Also, then I plan to restart making such videos again, like this one, and decided to try and make one every 10 to 15 days. Anyways, that's it. Now it was time to make weapon. Since weapons that reload usually have connections with the inventory, and since I made this inventory system in my own hacky way, I had to treat a weapon and weapon reload system in a similar fashion, where you manually carry the magazine up to the gun's handle, and if that magazine type fits the gun, it gets in. Making this work was even harder because of the way Unity handles few things. Same with a weapon equip system and a system for throwing away used magazines. But with great perseverance, consistency, and hard work. That's right, hard work. The systems of pickup, equip, and aiming was somewhat working. Somewhat. Now, the only logical thing to work on next, after making a weapon, was to, that's right, work on an enemy. Luckily, in my previous attempts to make this game, I had made an enemy model. If you can't tell, it's a humanoid chicken monster. Yes, I'm telling you, this game idea is pretty cool, if I say so myself. I hand textured the model and made its normal and roughness maps, but I couldn't really make the roughness map work correctly for some reason. I had also made some animations for this chicken monster, and you see, I tried to make it in a way that it kinda resembles the movement of real chickens. So yeah. Now time to get it in game. The process of making the AI to behave with manners was and is very rough for me. Even though making the AI in a systematic way was my focus this time. But I know I'll most likely redo it later. This is more of a proof of concept. This whole devlog is. Also, the enemy will now only roam around the place where it spawned. Unless it spots the player. Then it will charge at you. With some bad intent, let me tell you that. Man, it looks creepy. Can't say I was going for such a creepy look. I mean, I was. It's a spooky game. But this creepy looks more like a pervy old man than a chicken monster. With manners. That's right. You know how in RE4, enemies kinda dissolve in this acid particle sort of thing? Yeah. I tried to do that too. Just can't stop it from just can't stop it from these funny jumps while dying. Just can't stop it from making this funny jumps while dying. Guess that will be another feature too. Look at that attitude. Damn, look at that attitude. Also now, specific magazines will only work with specific guns. I'm kinda impressed with the way the inventory and the equip and the reload system works. And I know it may be very inefficient and unoptimized, but it works. I don't really like mix-emo animations, but I can't even make such smooth animations myself. I was trying to make an aiming system where on aim, player won't move, but it will only rotate its body to aim at a direction. Just like in Resident Evil 4. But for that I had to only rotate her waist or spine towards the aim target. But my god, was she being a bitch. Not gonna lie, it was funny. But after some hours of trying this and that, fortunately, it was working. Mostly. See these animation names, huh? These are to call specific animations. But guess what? It is not calling them. Cause the animations they call have a space at the end of the name. And I definitely didn't spend an hour solving it. Guess that doesn't matter when the enemy AI is working all weirdly anyways. Sometimes I just feel like making games alone is like inviting mental strain. But as I mentioned, the voices in my head just won't let me move on with something else. I was losing my mind just replicating a farm system that I had made myself some time back. And guess what? The chicken monster still does not work well. It's still acting weird. Anyways, you know how it's a chicken farming game too, right? So again, I made a chicken model. And my god, was making a chicken in 3D in itself a mind-hurting task. I could have gone with any easier animal. But no, I went with this weird body and specially winged animal. You see, I had to study chicken anatomy too to make this. Yeah, I'm not joking, I had to. And I also made animations for it. And guess what? These these animals even walk in their own unique way. So yeah, I tried to study their way of walking and everything to animate them.
1, 2, 3. I grabbed the key to my daddy's ride and took my girl down by the riverside. I'm going up, upside down. I'm going up, upside down.
So I made this complicated farm system. At least I like to call it complicated. Consisting of all sorts of chances, random ranges, duties, etc. So now simply speaking, if there is hen present and a rooster present, depending on their numbers, each day some eggs spawn, out of which, depending on some conditions, some eggs will hatch and some won't. And the farm has its own health and immunity on behalf of all its chickens, depending on which required number of hens will get infected. Yeah, told you, this game idea this game idea is cool. Later don't be like, hey, I didn't tell you. Anyways, I had to dive deep, really deep, into understanding how Chicken Kingdom works. Now, unlike for first-person games, making structures for third-person games like houses is slightly hard, because in third-person, in between the camera and any big structure like house, stands the protagonist, and with their presence, everything else can look kinda disproportionate. It's like you gotta design the house or something for two people to always walk side by side, without it appearing unnecessarily short. Even from my previous attempts, I knew it was hard to make structure assets, especially since there are multiple approaches to make them for games, that it gets kinda overwhelming. Also, I modeled the game's first gun, and Unity's rotation issue, as I told, is just really annoying. But yeah, what are you gonna do? Hey, look at this cool effect I got by mistake. Too bad it won't be in the game. It would have been a complete show stealer. Anyway, it was time to make a better house. Without a clear strategy to make it, I was just doing whatever I felt was right. Making 3D assets can really be time consuming, and that's just modeling them. Then there's texturing, and then you also have to get them colliders and stuff. So I'm really confused as to what approach to go with for such asset creations, which would be most efficient or effective and optimized. Should I make modular pieces, but then I won't have that many houses anyways. But the few I will have, I guess, can be varied. So should I make the entire model at once? But what about textures? Should I have one map for the entire house? Or have materials that go with all pieces? Or something in between? Alright then, people. That's pretty much it for this video. As I said, I would like to make a progress show-off video, just like this one, in every 10 to 15 days. But my exams have started, so yeah. If not for the views, at least so that I can see my own progress, and hopefully it can be a source of motivation to not just quit again and fall for this dirty cycle of quitting and restarting. But yeah, if you liked this, then maybe stick around for the next video, and then for the next video, and then for the next video, and then for the next.